Hello. So it is really Christ here, sort of back with another video. I know that I say that every time, but so I'm gonna actually be trying to do more devos like this, a lot more, and so yeah, I'm pretty excited to do this one. And topic kind of came on my heart today, and it was to do the predestination of hell. And I know a lot of people actually don't talk about the predestination of hell at all, because a lot of Christians actually don't believe in the predestination of hell, which is sort of funny to me. So for this Devo, I'm going to be trying to do these Devos every day. And if I don't, then that's all right. This is sort of the way that I can make Devos at all right now, or videos in general, just because right now I can't really make detailed videos. I don't really have time to edit. Probably if I woke up earlier, since I'm homeschooled, but I'm really trying to wake up earlier as well. But you probably don't care about any of that, except that you want to know about the predestination of hell, and is it actually a thing? Yes, it is. Yes, very much so it is. And I can't just say, oh yeah, the predestination of hell is actually a thing. No, we're going to go deeper than that. Okay, so obviously, according to Ephesians 1, let's just read some verses. I believe it's Ephesians 1, 4 through 5 and 11. So let's go to Ephesians. Right there. For he chose us in him before the creation of the world to be holy and blameless in his sight. In love, he predestined us for adoption to sonship through Jesus Christ in accordance with his pleasure and will. And that's so awesome. In him, this is verse 11, in him we were also chosen, having been predestined according to the plan of him who works out everything in conformity with the purpose of his will. So basically, that's just so awesome. Predestination is just, it's crazy how God does stuff. And then let's actually go through all the predestination verses I can right now, and then I'll get to the hell thing a bit later, just sort of laying the, actually no, okay. I've laid the groundwork that there is obviously predestination in the Bible. Don't be scared of the word predestination. It is a thing. It is a very real thing that God does. And a lot of people are actually confused on why God actually does predestination at all. Well, first of all, God's omniscient, okay? He's omnipresent, omnibenevolent, benevolent. He's so many things. And another thing that he does this whole thing about predestination. And he did it with Jesus, he did it with Judas, he did it with so many people. And I'm not actually, okay, I think there's a big difference between prophecy and predestination. But it does say that Jesus was predestined to this thing. It wasn't just a prophecy. It wasn't just Isaiah 46, I think. It wasn't just a ton of other ones. Jesus actually fulfilled over 301 different prophecies, which is just crazy to me. But basically, we have established that predestination is a thing in the Bible, and God does it in a way that a lot of people are confused by it. So let me just lay the groundwork on why God actually does predestination. And I'm mainly going to talk about why he does it for hell. God makes a predestination for people to go to hell because it's not that your plan in the beginning of the world is for you to go to hell. That's not at all what it is. It's because, let's take God out of the equation for a second, okay? This will make it easier for us to understand. So take God out of the equation and then basically put in what predestination is all about. So it's just a human, and let's say there's an afterlife. Okay, there's no God, but there's an afterlife, and you're a human, all right? You've sinned all your life. You're going in the way away from a higher power, per se. So let's go in an agnostic point away. But in this situation, there's an afterlife. So they've sinned, they sinned, they sinned. They're not looking to a higher power. They're not doing any of this. They're not doing things to be good or whatever. They're just sort of going through the motions. They're just following in themselves. They're selfish. They're arrogant. They're lustful. They're whatever. Then they get to the end and they go to hell. It wasn't because God chose them to go to hell. It's because as a person, he knew what future you would go into. So just you in your own path, going by yourself, you yourself would make yourself go to hell without predestination or anything. God puts predestination in place for that because he knows what kind of person you're going to be. It's sort of confusing. I still don't understand it a lot of times, but basically, you can read a lot more about it, but in Deuteronomy, it does say there are certain things that we don't even need to know. Okay, we need to know about Jesus and the Bible. We need to share his love. We need to bring people to Christ through his power. We need to speak by the Holy Spirit. Sorry, a bit of a lisp there, but we need to do his will by that. Okay, and these things are so cool. Okay, learning about Abaddon, the angel of the deep who sort of runs hell, and Satan really isn't running hell. All these deep things are so cool. Okay, and I don't know why that was the first example that came in my head, but they are so cool. But some things we can't understand, and we're not supposed to understand sometimes. So basically, I'm going to be talking about the predestination of hell today, and I know it's almost 7 minutes in, and I haven't really even started about it, but I'm sort of trying to lay the groundwork for what predestination is in general. A lot of people don't believe in the predestination of hell. I literally read, and I live in Dallas, and it's not like you're going to track me down because obviously you really can't. I looked at my records. I'm actually not on any records or anything. I live in Dallas. There's literally like millions of people in Dallas. I'm not even kidding. So try me. But basically in Dallas, there's this church called First Dallas. Basically, it's First Baptist or Dallas. It's a really famous Baptist church in America, basically, and it's in Dallas. And so in Dallas, I read one of their articles today about the predestination of hell, and they don't believe in the predestination of hell at all. And I go to a Church of Christ, okay? And we don't think differently. We just follow the Bible, okay? And so I'm not saying that I don't agree that I'm completely against Baptists at all. That's not at all what I'm saying. I love everyone, okay? But when it comes to the predestination of hell, it's also coming to the reality of the Bible. And so basically, I'm going to look at a verse that came when I was reading Acts yesterday because I'm doing the study of Acts with a friend of mine right now. I goes to my church. He's actually an adult, but he is a really good friend of mine. So basically, let's start in Acts 1:23 through 25. This is what it says. So basically, Judas died. They're looking for a new apostle, and I think it's Matthias gets chosen. So they nominated 2 men, Joseph called Barsabbas, also known as Justus, and Matthias. Then they prayed, Lord, you know everyone's heart. Show us which of these 2 men you have chosen to take over this apostolic ministry which Judas left to go where he belongs. Let's pay attention to that. Where Judas left to go to where he belongs, to where he was destined for. That, my friends, is a little something called predestination. The predestination of hell is shown there. Not in the first verse about the predestination of hell in the New Testament, but a really important one about where Judas went and where he was actually predestined to go to, where he belongs. When you think about where you belong, what do you think? Like, what is it? I've seen a bunch of ads on billboards that say home is where you belong or whatever. And so when you think of where you belong, it's like that's basically your place. That's your resting place. That's where you are. That is your thing. That is your place, okay? You wouldn't think of the afterlife as where you belong, okay? It's just a place where you go after. But literally, it's where you belong. It is home. This is just a house made of bricks, made of drywall, it's made of just ceiling, roof, window, all these different things. Not where we're from, not where we're going, okay? It's just a place. It's just a housing, nice, comfortable place, especially in affluent America, for people to stay in, okay? It's nothing more than that. But heaven is a lot more than that, because that's literally where we belong. Okay, us as believers, that's literally where we belong. And Judas literally belonged in hell. Okay, that's where he was predestined for. And it shows us in Psalms, it shows us in Zechariah, all the prophecies there, and the predestination in the beginning. Okay, we're all predestined either to be chosen by God or not. And I don't know where it says it, but it says many there are many what is it, many are there but few are chosen. So it's sort of, I guess it's sort of talking about, I don't really know what the verse is talking about, except that we could use it in a sense, uh, not necessarily out of context, but still in context. Many are on this earth, but few are chosen for heaven. Just like it says, many are on the straight, perfect, affluent, beautiful path to hell, which is not beautiful, by the way, with burning sulfur. uh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to laugh at that, but basically in heaven, rocky road, okay? Not on a straight line, just ups and downs every single day. You're going to be confused, you're going to be hurt. Just like Psalms 66, 12 through 16 says, I think. It says, He's going to lead you through fire and water. God is going to lead you through all these things. But it's just to prove the genuineness of your faith, as it says in 1 Peter 1. And it's also for you to go and have that treasure at the end of your life in heaven. So it's a wonderful thing. So it is where we belong, okay? So basically, let's get back on this topic of the predestination of hell. Okay, so the next verse we're going to talk about is in Matthew 22:14. And this was actually, I believe, the first verse ever mentioned for the predestination of hell in the New Testament, which is pretty crazy if you ask me. So basically, let's go to Matthew 22. So Matthew 22, I believe it was 14, says this. For many are invited, but few are chosen. So that was one of them. And so basically, yeah, that's the verse I was talking about. I didn't know why I thought that was something different, but the next one is something different. Matthew 25:41. Sorry, this is the first verse about the predestination of hell. And if it's something different, I am totally sorry. But Matthew 25, 41, I believe it said. 41. Then he will say to those on his left, "Depart from me, you who are cursed, into the eternal fire prepared for the devil and his angels." And then in verse 26 it says, "Then they will go away to eternal punishment, but the righteous to eternal life." So let's focus on 41, because it's literally saying the eternal fire prepared for the devil and his angels. That is such a big deal, because that is literally talking about prepared. What do you think about prepared? Predestination, okay? The predestination of Satan and his angels. And I need to look this up, and I'm going to study on it, and maybe it'll be even the topic for tomorrow. But basically, I'm still confused on like why God chose Satan. But it was probably maybe for another prophecy fulfilled, but there weren't any prophecies before Satan fell. So basically, God was still omniscient. He was omniscient from the beginning. But yeah, and it just blows my mind still. But basically, from the beginning, from the very beginning, okay, God, before even angels were made, he knew who angels were going to be. He knew who Satan was going to be. He knew that 1/3 of all the angels in heaven would literally follow in the steps of Satan to hell, okay? It's prepared for them. They're not in there right now, okay? They are the princes of the air, basically. Satan is the prince of the air, okay? And his demons are the angels that were once gods are now the demons of Satan, okay? They're still all under the power of God, but basically, yeah, so that's pretty cool. But basically, let's just check that out, because let's look at this. Never ever says in this verse that they're in hell. It says they're prepared for it. So prepared, basically means it's fulfilled in Revelation, or going to be fulfilled in the future, but it's definitely fulfilled in Revelation, where it does talk about Satan being locked in the abyss by Abaddon, or in Greek Apollyon, or Apollyon, whatever the pronunciation in Greek is, or in Hebrew. Basically, he's going to be locked up for 1,000 years along with his angels, and then he's going to be released for a short while. Then he's just going to be killed off, basically. That's as far as I know. That's as far as really any of us know. And if I have any of that wrong, please tell me, because I'm learning more about the Bible as I go, okay? I'm not a know-it-all. I really am not. I've been humbled, but yeah. So basically, it says it's prepared for him. So that is the first predestination of hell verse right there. Hell was made along with heaven in the beginning. It was prepared for him. And there is an angel of death, angel of Sheol as well, who is guarding the deep, who is guarding the abyss. And people are going there now. So it's pretty crazy. So that is the first verse there. And then there's a lot of, well, not a lot, but there's other verses about the predestination of hell in the New Testament. But basically, let's go to the biggest, basically, verse about the predestination of hell in the Bible. And so basically, this is the marker right here. It's 16 minutes and 30 seconds where I will be starting to literally talk about probably the biggest thing about the predestination of hell in the Bible. So let's go to Isaiah 30, which is actually one of my favorite exegetical sort of chapters in the Bible. So yeah, let's go to it now. Almost there. Okay, got lucky. So basically, this whole chapter is about basically the Assyrians, and in the beginning it's actually talking about Egypt. Then it goes to the anti-Christian kings, and it talks about Assyria. Basically, a lot of it's towards the end. It's actually a pretty big deal, and we're going to focus on the very last verse, which is Isaiah 30, verse 33. It says, Topheth has long been prepared. It has been made ready for the king. Its fire pit has been made deep and wide with an abundance of fire and wood. The breath of the Lord, like a stream of burning sulfur, sets it ablaze. Wow. There is a lot packed in this verse, okay? The very last verse of Isaiah 30 is one of my favorite, basically, exegetical sort of I like this verse because I can talk about it a lot. And it's one of the biggest verses about the predestination of hell that there is. So what is Topheth? Let's start with that. Topheth is not at all a human creation, okay? It is based off of a human-made place, man-made place. But other than that, it's actually a pretty big deal. So Topheth comes. Gehenna is actually a synonym of the word Topheth. Okay, actually, let me rewind. Okay, Gehenna is the worst type of hell. Okay, so Gehenna is basically like, let's just look up, a description of Gehenna. And sorry, I didn't actually prepare for that part earlier, but I just want you guys to actually know how bad Gehenna is. So let's sort of go here. Okay, so Gehenna is like the worst type of hell you can imagine, and it's actually in this book, Explicit Gospel by Matt Chandler. Check it out. It's really cool. It does talk about Gehenna in it. I don't know where it says it though, but literally it scared me. Because it was so it was vivid in my mind how it worked. And so basically it's pretty scary. So let's go to Gehenna. Alright. Might not give me a description. Okay, it's not going to give me a description, but that's okay, because basically Gehenna is the worst type of hell, okay? Think about rotting flesh, and that's basically what it is. So Gehenna comes also from the word Gehenna. Gehenna, same type of hell, comes from the word the valley, or the place, the valley of Hinnom, which is basically the trash garden, the trash garden of Israel. It is the worst place you could imagine. Like, it has so much death in it. Imagine like death himself walking into this place and being overwhelmed by the amount of death that is within it. Okay, it is so bad. And let me just tell you how bad it is. Okay, I'm going to go to a paper that I wrote earlier today, and it's actually about what we're talking about now, and it was sort of my outline, but I did a lot more research on it, and a lot of the verses that actually mention the Valley of Hinnom are in Jeremiah. There's 2 verses in Jeremiah, 1 verse in either 2 Kings or 1 Kings. I think it's 2 Kings. And then there's 1 in Isaiah, and those are the 4 places that mention Topheth in the Bible. So basically, I'm going to go to the Jeremiah verses. Let me. Yeah. Okay. What? Yeah. Okay. It's sorry. I feel so unprofessional. The videos are going to be a lot more professional than this. But basically, Jeremiah 19:6 literally calls it the Valley of Slaughter. And in Jeremiah 7:31, people literally burn their children, like in Topheth. Okay, it's crazy. So the Valley of Hinnom basically is also referred to as Topheth. So that's where we get that. So Topheth is literally talking about hell. Okay, and of course, so in this verse, in verse 33, they're literally talking about this king of the Assyrians at that time who was killed by his own son. There are 2 ways that people actually think he died. He's either killed by his own son or a statue fell on him. I actually believe that he was killed by his son, because the one who took his stone after he died was another son, and a lot of people believe that he was a part of the plan. So King Sennacherib of Assyria was a evil king. Okay, a lot of people actually think that he founded Nineveh, and I sort of believe that as well. So basically, it's saying hell has long been prepared for you, King Sennacherib. It has been made ready for the king. Its fire pit has been made deep and wide with an abundance of fire and wood. Okay, now you can probably fit that into an earthly description, and you can probably be like, okay, that's the trash burning flesh place in Israel that they're talking about. Well, let's go deeper. The next part says, the breath of the Lord like a stream of burning sulfur sets it ablaze. You don't really see burning sulfur on earth, do you? It doesn't happen. Okay, the only place that there's literally burning sulfur as torture, and whereas there is a place of predestination that's not on earth, and that the breath of the Lord is literally filling it up to the brim with burning sulfur, is hell. Okay, it's part of the heavenly realm. So that is a really big deal about the predestination of hell. So that is basically the study for today. And okay, so now I just basically proved to you the predestination of hell. The predestination of hell is a real thing. Okay, and basically I actually was blown away when I read that verse, because I was like, oh, wow. And my mom showed it to me actually, and I just really dug deep into that chapter, and I really liked it. And so basically that verse just really stood out to me, talking about the predestination of hell. And there's a lot more where that came from, guys. I'll see you guys next week. Hopefully next week I'll actually be talking more about hell, more about Satan, to sort of inform you guys about what it's like, and the origins of Satan, and how he works in people. And how he works in people, the thing that I'm going to be talking about next week, is basically when Jesus said to Peter, he was like, get behind me, Satan. He wasn't talking to Peter. he was talking to Satan, who was in Peter at that time. And when he was calling Judas a devil, he was calling him the devil, basically, because the devil was inside of him. And you can actually see, I believe it is in Isaiah 14. Let's go there real quick. I'm sort of trying to study Isaiah right now as well, so that's why I'm sort of doing this study. But basically, it says, nope, sorry. It's actually Jeremiah 24, I believe. Yeah. So, okay, no, I can't find it. So basically, he's talking to a king. And then he starts talking about the origins of Satan within Jeremiah, or it might be Ezekiel, but I'm pretty sure it's Jeremiah. And so it's basically talking about that and saying this is to, I believe it was a king of Assyria or something like that, or maybe it was Babylon, and he was saying, you were ordained as a jewel, and you were beautiful, you were the highest angel there was, you were a guardian cherub. And he's not talking to the king anymore. He's talking about Satan, who is in him. So I'm actually going to be talking a lot about that next week, or no, I'm sorry, tomorrow. So tomorrow I'm going to be trying to do a lot more studies like this. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. Please keep loving Jesus, keep researching about the Bible, and keep pursuing his word, knowing completely who Satan is, rebelling against his attacks. Just love Jesus, guys. I love you guys so much. Please keep praying for this channel, that I will start not caring about subscribers, but that I will start caring about how to help people come to Christ. And how to honestly just do his will on this channel, because I've been feeling a really big calling to do his will more. So thank you guys so much. You guys are awesome. Keep loving Jesus. Worthy is the Lamb. God is good. And goodbye. How do I end this? Just kidding. No, I'm not. Okay.